God be with you, my friend. God be with you.
Eat whatever takes your fancy, my friends. You look like you've had a hard journey.
The journey wasn't so bad, especially compared to what came before it.
Where are you coming from, anyway?
From Trusky.
That's Sir Otto von Burgo's domain. What were you doing there, pray tell?
We were in a castle cellar, talking to an old acquaintance.
My God, how did that happen?
Simple. I'm in the service of Lord Sokol of Lamberg, same as Dry Devil, and I had a job to do around Trusky, if you get my meaning.
Absolutely. But it wasn't much of a success, was it?
Actually, it was pretty much. We even took a castle.
Well, more like a small stronghold.
And we nearly got von Berghoff, too.
And what prevented you from completing that righteous deed?
Markvart von Aulis.
I know that name. He's the commander of the Prague militia.
Exactly. And they came with him.
But why would the Praguers send forces to Trotsky?
But they didn't, sir. They weren't sent to Trusky, but here. They just stopped off to visit von Berghoff because he was in a tight situation, and they took him along with them.
Here? To my fortress? Christ almighty.
Not just here, but everywhere where King Wenceslas still has supporters.
And that's also one of the reasons why we're here. We came to warn you. It seems Sigismund's run out of patience. He's going to break the truce and finish off the rebellion while he still has time. So he's convened all his followers in Kuttenberg with von Berghoff and von Orlitz in the lead. It's just a matter of time before the battles begin.
We've got to secure the fortress quickly, stock up on supplies, reinforce the guard and drill the troops. But I'm grateful to you, friends. Wait here. I'll have the best wine I have brought to you. Bring that red from Burgundy right away.
You might want to save some for Jobst.
I'll gladly risk his displeasure for this occasion.
It seems we both have the same opinion of Jobst, eh?
Well, that is, I wouldn't dream of disrespecting the Margrave. Where do you know him from?
I don't really know him as such. We merely know each other due to my original trade.
Yes, I've heard of you. They say you used to be, well...
Yes, a bandit. It's no secret, sir. King Wenceslas even put a price on my head once. And Catherine here, she...
I'm sure that's of no interest to the noble gentleman. And anyway, if anyone knows Jobst well, it's Henry here. You two are quite on friendly terms, aren't you?
Aye, we know each other well. We recently had talks together in Rattay.
Anyway, we're straying a little from the point. As I said, one of the reasons we came here is to warn you. And the other reason goes by the name of Hinek, the Dry Devil. Where is he?
Well, he was here for a while, at my invitation.
Was here? So he's gone?
Where did he go?
I couldn't say. He didn't part quite on the best of terms.
That's quite normal for him. Don't take it to heart, sir.
I had no issue with him. It's more about Margrave Jobst. When he met Hinek, he was somewhat disturbed.
Disturbed? Why?
Well, let's say, after an exchange of opinions, they agreed it would be best if they saw as little of each other as possible. I'm sure if you're interested in the details, the Margrave will explain it to you himself.
I'd be very surprised.
What was Dry Devil doing here, anyway?
Waging war, if you can call it that. He ambushed 3 of Sigismund's supply caravans and a troop of Cumans in these parts alone. It made me a little nervous. If anyone found out he was hiding out here, in the end, it was Jobst himself who sorted it out. He told Hinek he had to stop because he was interfering with his plans.
Why is Jobst taking such risks? He almost put himself in Sigismund's reach. What for?
To do what he's been doing all his life. Scheming.
One could put it that way. He's seeking allies amongst the undecided lords, and winning over to our side some of the ones who've sided with Sigismund so far.
He wants to make deals with turncoats?
Alas, that's the way it goes in politics. The majority lean towards the side where they expect the least problems. Just between us, I'm not too pleased myself about Jobst's strategy, and I'm the last one who'd wish for violence.
What do you think about all of this, sir? Sigismund, Wenceslas, Jobst?
What kind of question is that? Do you doubt my loyalty to our king?
No, that's not how I meant it.
Henry here sometimes forgets to weigh his words, sir.
That's all right. To be frank, we all know that King Wenceslas isn't the great man his father Charles was. But that is the way of the world. History is full of kings who didn't know how to wear the crown. The blood running in their veins is more important than what's in their heads. He's not a capable ruler. What of it? In my opinion, kingship is above all a guarantee of divine peace. A sovereign's greatest asset is his legitimacy.
But what if the sovereign is truly bad? If he's mad, say.
I'll put it this way. Nobody lives forever, lad.
Least of all bad kings. Isn't that right, sir?
So, what about us? What do we do now?
The Margrave will certainly want to talk to you, but the earliest he'll be back at the fortress will be tomorrow. I hope until then, you won't refuse my offer of a bed for the night.
Just an offer. So you'd let us leave if we wanted to?
Well, the Margrave did ask me to look after you until he returns, for the sake of security.
Whose security?
Good question. Yours, I expect.
So be it. I couldn't take another step anyway.
Sir, there's still one more thing we came for. Lord von Bergov is holding my lord, Sir Hans Capon of Perkstein, hostage. And we also have to warn Jobst's ally, John of Liechtenstein. Do you know anything about those two?
Sorry, I don't. I didn't even know von Bergau had come here until you told me. And I've heard nothing about Lord Liechtenstein.
Which is actually good news. If he'd been caught and executed, the word would be all over the region. So there's a strong hope he's alive.
Thank you for the warm welcome, Lord Pisek.
It's the least I could do, lad. My fortress is open to all the king's supporters, even if that does make it a bit crammed.
I suppose I ought to get to bed. Where can I sleep, sir?
I had some chambers prepared for all of you. Yours is right here in the palace. Cross that corridor and go up the stairs. You can't miss it. There's a garland above the door. But first, eat your fill, all of you. And maybe you'd like to bathe before going to bed. I told my servant Susanna to prepare baths for you. The baths are in the little house in the courtyard, right next to the well.
Good to see you, friend. Greetings.
God be with you.
I'm sorry.
Here, Mutt!
How can I help you, sir?
I'll have a look at you.
Maybe next time then, sir.
Lord Pisek said we could have a bath here?
Yes, sir. I prepared the hot water and fragrant oils myself. And I'll wash your clothes as well.
Thank you.
You needn't thank me, sir. And now, if you'll allow me, I'll help you undress.
Rules like that must cost as much as a farm.
Fuck you! Oh, my back.
So you got your revenge? Father, did it make you feel any better? It did. So what comes next?
Mark von Aulitz is next. Then von Berghoff. And
Is that what you really want, son? No matter how many people you kill, you can't change what's happened. It's what I want. Are you sure, Henry?
What's happening? Why are you waking me up? You again?
Yes, the Margrave is calling for you, sir. You and the other gent.
You mean Zizka?
I suppose. I don't know what his name is, but he's waiting down in the courtyard. I'm just on my way to tend to his wounds.
Oh, very well. I'll go now.
Before you go, I brought you something for breakfast. In case you're hungry. Oh, have I been too bold?
No, definitely not. Thank you. Do you need anything else?
No, sir.
So, why are you standing here?
You haven't dismissed me, sir.
I'm not a nobleman. You don't have to stand on ceremony with me.
I do, since you're a guest of the Margrave, sir. May I leave?
That is... yes, of course.
Thank you, sir.
Farewell.
I'm sorry.
You see, meine Dame, we aren't idle here. My man
And
trained
this
like
scar.
that
It's strange, crooked, like a letter from a fancy book.
This. I fell off the battlements at Laxenburg Castle.
Lord above! From the war.
How are things, Captain?
What do you think? I've seen better days. And you, youngster?
Not so great. I'm feeling pretty battered.
Just wait until you've been through as much as I have.
Don't say that. You still have your strength. A real man of iron.
A damned rusty one, I'd say. But enough chat. I see Jobst has returned to the fortress.
That's why I'm here. They're expecting us.
They can wait a while longer then. First, I have to fix myself up and tell Catherine to prepare the horses. You go ahead without me.
Are you expecting trouble?
I always expect trouble. Jobst has turned coats more times than I can count. And the way things are these days, I'd rather have horses standing by, even on a visit to my parents.
What about that dry devil of yours? Did you find out where he went?
No, nobody asked him where he was going, but it seems they're hoping it's as far away as possible. I'm not surprised. If I know him, he wasn't the ideal guest.
At least Jobst might know where he is.
He might. To be honest, that's the only reason for talking to him.
Should I really go and see Jobst on my own? He's a Margrave, though.
So what? You already know him better than I do. You met him in Ratai. I only know what I've heard about him.
All right, but he sent for us both. How's it going to look?
A bit odd, I suppose. But you must understand, I'm doing this for our benefit. The less time I spend with a Margrave in one room, the better.
All right, then. I'll be going, then.
Still believe in yourself?
Lo, the worth Henry of Skalitz. I'm just holding a discussion with the captain here about his desolate fortress.
That's not how I'd put it. In the end, as my Großvater said, the strength of a castle is measured by its garrison. And mine is one of the best in the region. What do you say, lad? Am I right?
Aye. I have to admit, the soldiers here look pretty fearsome. I wouldn't want to come up against them in battle.
I get the feeling you'd run instead of facing them, though. Eh?
Leave him be, meine Dame. Nobody with any sense would take on my men.
Now look here, I was just being polite. I'd happily take on your men.
Ach ja?
Do you fancy yourself a knight?
Come, Junge. We'll stuff your clothes with straw, so you don't come to any harm, and let you have a go against one of ours. Pullcock, come here! The first to bleed loses.
Excellent, Henry.
It was nothing.
Gut gemacht. You have my admiration. You really are good with the sword. I hope my idiots learned a thing or two from you.
You should receive some kind of reward for that feat.
And what rewards would you have in mind?
I was rearranging our saddlebags, and I remembered I took a small memento from Trotsky.
Oh. What is it?
A hunting crossbow. I even think it's von Berghoff's. I was meaning to sell it, but it might serve you better.
My word. Thank you. I better be going. The Margrave is expecting me.
Wait, you're gonna see him alone? What about Zizka?
He said he'd be along in a while.
Seems like he's in a bad mood.
How did you know that?
A woman's intuition.
God be with you, my friend. Greetings to you too.
I heard Kuttenberg surrendered to Sigismund, and his army is running amok here in the area.
They are. These dreckigen Hurensöhne are angry, you see? They thought they would rake in the silver from the Kuttenberg mines. But they couldn't have been more wrong. Sigismund kept all the treasure for himself. Why should he pay them out of his own pocket when the local lords are feeding them?
What? I don't understand.
Dann pass mal auf. As soon as the soldiers began looting the villages around the city, the local nobility quickly decided it's better to pay them Lösegeld.
So that Hungarian bastard is getting rich, while the locals feed his army.
Das trifft den Nagel auf den Kopf. And yet, that carrot-top Schweinehund lets the monks in the Selets monastery fuss over him while he receives legations from the whole kingdom.
Did Sigismund also attack Suchdol?
Oh yes, as soon as he got here. But my men know what to do. Mit der Hilfe Gottes, we fended him off and forced him to negotiate. Mein Herr Peter, however, had to pay him a fat Lösegeld to leave us in peace. The villagers in the vicinity fared even worse.
What happened?
They raised Mesolis and a pot of it. There was nothing left but ashes and stones. They haven't been here since then, but who knows what tomorrow may bring. Der Teufel soll Sigismund holen.
Do you know by chance how to get into that monastery where Sigismund is staying?
Wie bitte? Hast du den Verstand verloren? You can forget about that. You won't get in there. And listen closely to what I tell you. I don't know what you're planning, but I'll give you some good advice. Leave Sigismund alone. The wheels of justice grind slowly, but surely. You'll see. You'd better be glad you still have your head.
How do things work around here? Is there something I should be wary of?
Not really, except for the Sigismund military camp at Opatowitz. And it isn't really all that safe in the raised villages either. These Banditenbanden have settled in there. A bunch of dossers who'll easily cut your throat for a piece of bread. Ah, so God will. These evil times will soon be over.
How do I get to Kuttenberg from here?
Das ist nicht schwer. You just take the main road to the east and then you'll see the church towers. Or you can also follow your nose. There's smoke rising from the Kuttenberg smelters day and night. The smell is hell, but it's worth it for the silver. In fact, the silver's why Kuttenberg is the second richest city in the kingdom, right after Prague.
Where did you say Sigismund's army is camped?
Unfortunately, they're close. They've occupied the hill above the main road near Kuttenberg, so no one could just come and help the town. When you walk out of the village and look toward Opatowitz, you should see the flags flying above their camp. Pah, that Hungarian camp is like a boil. It's just festering and we just can't get rid of it.
I need to top up my supplies. Where could I find some merchants here?
You'd be better off asking the innkeeper Slivka in the village about these things. He knows everyone from far and wide. And that's no surprise, because he makes such good spirits.
How's it going, Captain? Do you have any work for me?
Sehr interessant. I thought you were helping Siska.
What of it? So is there anything you need a hand with, Frenzel?
Was soll ich sagen? After our Lord paid ransom for us to the Chaiskel-Cherten, there is peace here. Fortunately. Aber warte. Actually, there is one thing. You ought to have a word with our huntsman Dobrosch. He might have eine Aufgabe for you. See, someone poached a white roebuck in his territory the other day.
A white roebuck? That's a rare sight.
Ja, and Dobrosch takes it as a personal offense. So go easy on him, hörst du?
What exactly do you mean by that?
Just ask him if there's anything new happening in his territory, and wait until he tells you himself. Oh, yeah. He really doted on that creature. And das war alles. I don't have anything else.
All right, thank you. I'll ask around. I'd like to learn something.
What is this about?
I'm interested in sword fighting.
Thanks. I'll teach you one trick, but it'll take time to learn it.
Balls like that must cost as much as a farm.
You never saw that coming.
Greetings. Do you need something?
What goes on in the forest, Huntsman?
There are poachers prowling in the woods, a band led by this ginger-headed muck of Marshowitz. They've been causing trouble for quite some time, but now they've really overdone it.
What happened?
They killed a rare white roebuck that lived in our woods. Killed and skinned it. Sir Peter of Pisek put a bounty on their heads. The bounty's yours if you help me track them down.
I must say, I've never seen a white roebuck before.
It's an exceedingly rare animal. It was beautiful. Its hide was white as snow. Sir Peter forbade hunting it, but I wouldn't have even if I could. Killing an animal like that is bad luck.
Do you know any more about these poachers?
They're led by some fella called Markov Marshevitz, and they fancy themselves some kind of a brotherhood. From what I've heard, they showed up in the village below the castle a couple of times trying to sell venison. The guards always sent them packing. Our knacker, Wolfram, was the only one who talked to them.
That knacker, Wolfram, do you think he had anything to do with the dead roebuck and the poachers?
Oh, he has a dishonourable profession, true enough, and he sells hides and meat wherever he can. But having the gall to work with poachers, I don't think so. He's on thin enough ice as it is, being a knacker and all. If his lordship found out he had anything to do with it, he'd have him hanged. But he might know something about that band.
All right, huntsman. I'll try to track the poachers down. Maybe they haven't sold the hide yet, and I'll be able to find it.
Excellent. And if you mete out capital punishment on the spot, all the better. Every member of that band carries a squirrel tail on them. Probably a badge of their hunting prowess. Bring them to me as evidence.
Where should I look for these poachers?
Ah, that's the hard part. I'm sure they have a hideout in the woods around here, but you'll have to track them down yourself. If you don't know what to do, you can try to get something out of the knacker.
Thanks for the advice.
Take care, friend.
What the fuck was that?
Henry. Where's Captain Zizka?
He got held up.
I received a report that von Bergov's banner is flying in the camp of my dear cousin Sigismund, so I assume the negotiations at Trotsky didn't go too smoothly.
No, sir. I don't have good news for you, I'm afraid.
Well, good or bad, I'm sure you have plenty to report. So what happened with von Bergov at Trotsky?
Bergov had no interest in our message. By the time we finally arrived at Trotsky, he'd already long since made a deal with Sigismund. But of course, he didn't tell Sir Hans and me anything. And on top of that, he used us to do his dirty work. Everything went to hell in the end, and we ended up in a dungeon. Or at least I did. They took Lord Capon away. In fact, that's why we're here. We were following von Bergov's trail.
So I've heard. But I'd be interested to know the details. It's been some time since our meeting in Ratai, and now you appear here by the side of a quite unexpected guest.
Well, it wasn't the best circumstances to meet Zizka in. They sent him to the Trotsky region to cause problems, and our paths happened to cross. We crossed swords. I can only thank God we didn't kill each other.
And who was giving Zizka orders? Do you know?
I think it's some Jan Sokol of Lamberg.
That would make sense. He was always quite pig-headed. Enough about Zizka. I also heard something about a pillory and poaching. What the hell did you and Sir Hans get up to?
Things went wrong right from the beginning. We were ambushed, and we lost the letter. Lord Capon and I were lucky to get out of it alive. But no one at Trotsky believed that we were messengers.
Von Bergov refused to aid a nobleman in need. That seems pretty low for a man of his stature.
Well, to be honest, Lord Capon didn't really look much like a nobleman. We were ambushed while bathing in a pond, and then we fled through the woods. So we really looked like a pair of beggars.
Ah, that must have been a peculiar feeling for Lord Capon.
You can't even imagine it, Your Grace.
I certainly cannot, in truth. In any case, are you sure there's nothing else you want to tell me?
Well, you should probably know that Istvan Toth was working for von Berghoff.
Who's he?
One of Sigismund's cronies. He was causing havoc around Ratai.
Ah, yes. Hanush and Radzig mentioned some such person. They even foolishly let him go.
They had to. They gave him their word.
Yes. Well, it's actually quite heartening that some people still have such naive ideas about the world.
Well, no one let him go this time. He's dead.
Very good. From what I've heard, he was a bandit and a cutthroat. There should be no dealings with his ilk. And do you want to tell me anything else? Besides about Toth?
That's all that happened, sir.
Truly. My court messenger and bearer of tidings, both good and bad, John of Liechtenstein, has mysteriously gone silent. So every piece of information I get now is precious. By the way, you said you were in von Berghoff's dungeon. And I can imagine how they treated you there. Tell me, did you reveal anything?
Well, they asked questions, yes. But I was counting on that, and prepared myself for it.
How did you prepare yourself?
Well, I mainly told them things I was pretty sure von Berghoff already knew. Like that Radzig is a supporter of Wenceslas, that you and I met in Ratai.
And was he satisfied with that?
Well, I don't think he expected anything more from a simple servant of Lord Capon.
That's true. I must say, Henry, you've pleasantly surprised me. You can keep a cool head as the world around you burns. You'll make it far. Thank you for the news. You're free to go if you want. But I would be glad if you stayed at the fortress. As soon as it's possible, you can join a legation heading for Rattay. I'm sure you already want to go home.
Sir, that's a generous offer, and I appreciate it. But it's not what I want.
If you wish to stay and help here, I'll be glad, of course. I need someone to escort my envoys, and you've proven yourself more than capable.
It's Lord Capon, Your Grace. I came to find out where he is, and rescue him.
A noble thought. But you mustn't worry about Lord Capon. I'm sure von Berghoff has him trapped in a gilded cage.
But I made a promise, sir.
I understand, but honestly, Lord Capon is now safer than you or I. The most sensible course now is to wait for the ransom demand.
Margrave.
Ah, Captain Zizka. Henry and I were just discussing Lord Capon.
Yeah, the Margrave thinks he's in no danger, and we should wait for a ransom demand.
As one does.
I wanted to talk to you about something else. I suppose you're wondering why your friend Hinnek, also known as the Dried Devil, isn't here?
Oh, there's plenty of gossip going on around the fortress. You and Pisek refused to grant him asylum.
Asylum is for those in distress, Captain. Hinnek came to burn and pillage. I have quite different plans.
Oh. And what might those be, Margrave? Sitting and talking while King Wenceslas rots in a dungeon. What would I expect? Not so long ago, you were conspiring with Sigismund against Prokop, your own brother.
It would be futile trying to explain to you the intricacies of the Luxembourg's dynastic politics. Let me just explain that that was what was called for in the situation. But I assure you that I am now acting in the best interests of this country and of King Wenceslas.
You're acting first and foremost in your own interests. Everyone knows that.
Strong words coming from a man who earns his bread by killing merchants on the road. No offense intended. I applaud your art. The pen is mightier than the sword, but there are times when it's vice versa. Enter!
All ready to leave now, sir?
Good. It's high time. I expect the captain was about to leave anyway. Are you not?
With pleasure.
And you, Henry?
Me? Well, sir, I made a promise.
I understand. I won't attempt to keep you here by force. But bear in mind, I have concluded a very fragile truce with Sigismund, which gives us time to get ready. And if anyone should disrupt my plans with headstrong acts of violence, there will be consequences. Grave consequences. I consider this matter closed. Farewell and good luck.
I get the feeling Yopes didn't make a great impression on you. Are we leaving?
Yeah. And Henry's going with us.
Wait, you'll help me find Capon?
Sure. But we'll need people for that. And information. Catherine, I've got a job for you.
Yes?
Go to Kuttenberg. Find out what happened to Liechtenstein. If anyone knows what's going on in his godforsaken country, it'll be him. In the meantime, we'll go and find Dry Devil and his band.
Good luck. I'd go all the way to Rome to spy if it kept me away from the devil.
Let's go! Stay close. The devil doesn't know you, but he should recognize me.